This may not look like it, but believe it or not, this is a kayak trapped in the river, and we're going to have to pull it out. This simulated kayak is actually a little ATV utility trailer. We've got it on a slope here, and we're going to use a Z-drag to pull it out of the river. We have one end, of course, tied to the kayak, the other end tied off to a good strong tree. We're going to go up here and take a look at that tree. The way we have tied onto that tree is we've used some mountaineering webbing, and you can see we've got the water knot tied in the back, so we're not putting any undue pressure on that. And we have a carabiner affixed to the webbing, and in that carabiner we have a pulley. Now that's an aluminum all-weather pulley, not affected by water. We also have a prusik loop and knot in the same carabiner, and then wrapped properly around the rope. That prusik is going to act as a brake, so that when we release pressure on our little system here, the kayak doesn't slip back to wherever it was. And if we go down here a ways, we see we have another prusik knot and prusik loop going through a carabiner. That carabiner is affixed to a pulley, another pulley, and you can see we've got our haul rope through that pulley. Now, if I took my hands, and with the help of other people, and just pulled straight with this rope, we would have only a one-to-one mechanical advantage. In other words, really no advantage. If I went up here and pulled just on this rope right here, we also would achieve really no mechanical advantage, because that pulley there would only be redirecting the force, not multiplying it. But if we go down here, back to this pulley right here, if we pull through this pulley, we in effect are tripling the force that we apply to the rope system as it is, or where it is attached to the kayak down there. That kayak being in the river, of course, trapped. Now, how does this happen? Is this magic? Well, of course not. But you can see that this rope doubled through that pulley there. It gives us two force vectors acting on that pulley. So let's say I have 100 pounds of force being applied by my hand. Got a chance of that, but anyway. That actually produces 200 pounds of force on that prusik loop, which again is transmitted to that rope right there. But at the same time, because that rope freely travels through that pulley and then up through this pulley and all the way back down to the boat, that adds the initial 100 pounds. So what's happening now is we are in effect applying a theoretical 300 pounds, or 3 times what I can apply with my hand right here to this end of the rope. In reality, that's all theoretical, but in reality it's probably more like about 2.5 times. But again, if I can pull with 100 pounds of force up here, I can put 200 pounds of force on the kayak down there to pull it out of a trapped spot. Now, as I pull on this, you can see how it is pulling that pulley system right there on the prusik up towards the top. And you can see right here that my little prusik knot is coming up towards the carabiner. If I continue to pull, you can see that the prusik knot stops, allows the rope to slip through, and if I let go, that prusik knot acts as a brake. So even though my rope has now gone slack here, that portion that is directly tied to the kayak remains in place, still under tension, because that prusik loop is holding it there. Now, it's hard to analyze all this from just the video, but if you look carefully at the diagram accompanying this video, I think it'll begin to make sense. This is one of those things that has to be practiced a few times before you can really plan on doing it effectively on the river. Safety first. Now, one thing you might consider, pardon me, is right here. To me, this is the, pardon me again, this appears to be the weak link in the system. If that rope right there, that little prusik rope, the little black rope, if that were to break, that carabiner and pulley might come flying right back at me and smack me in the face, or other people that are helping me pull. So it's not a bad idea to attach something like a life jacket right about here, on this part right here, so that would dampen the kickback or the slingshot effect of having that break. By the way, on this rope, this is a National Fire Protection Association certified water rescue rope. It's a Dyneema fabric or a thread on the inside, and the outside is polypropylene. So it is designed to be a throw rope, certified throw rope for water conditions, water rescues, and it also has a breaking strength of somewhere around 6,000 pounds. And the carabiners and the pulleys are all certified and approved for this type of an application. Again, that prusik rope is probably the weak link in the system, but it should be able to withstand most of what we're talking about in terms of casual river rescue of kayaks and canoes. Not anything really much bigger than that. So there you have it. And oh, by the way, the excess rope here, you can see, goes right to a throw bag. So that's the system, and if you study the diagram that accompanies this video, I think it'll make some sense to you. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the parts that go into this unpin kit for a kayak or canoe. The first thing you're going to want to acquire is a quality throw rope. In this case, this came from Blue Water Ropes. This is an NFPA certified swiftwater rescue throw rope that has a breaking strength of around 6,000 pounds, so it's also excellent for pulling on the Z-drag to unpin a boat in the water. Now, the other parts you're going to want are small enough to take up very little space in your kayak. We've got two prusik loops here, double fisherman knot on each one holding the ends together, so again it's just a loop. We've got two locking carabiners. Usually in my kit I'll have one or two more. These are aluminum, but they are, certified for climbing. They have a much greater breaking strength than the rope. We've got about 10 feet of climbing webbing that came from a mountaineering store. A couple of certified pulleys. These are designed for medium duty use. They
They are acceptable for life safety applications, but in our case, they're just going to be used for boat rescue. I've got a little bit more webbing here, but that pretty much takes care of it. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about while we have this material out. In the video, when I hooked the prusik loop, the loop had already been attached with a prusik knot to the rescue rope. But when I hooked it up to a carabiner, which in turn was hooked up to a pulley, I did it by simply putting it through the carabiner like that. Now on the braking prusik, that's probably adequate because there's not going to be a great deal of stress on that under normal circumstances. But on the prusik that's used to do the double line pull on the boat through a pulley, this is probably not the best way to do it, because that means that all of the force from a pretty heavy pull is going to be transmitted to this smaller prusik loop in that one bend right there. So there's a couple of ways to hook it up that are going to greatly increase the strength of this system, or decrease the likelihood that this thing will have the carabiner cut through it. One simple way is to just do this and then run the carabiner through, because now what you've done is you have two bends over the carabiner, so again it's a lot less likely to cut through this rope under heavy stress. There's another way you might do it, and by the way, I might mention one disadvantage of this is when the slack is off of it, it tends to kind of fall apart there. It remains in place, and for a non-life safety application I think it's okay. But another thing you could consider is you don't want to lock this while we're doing the demo here. You could do a clove hitch, and you do that by making a loop like this, then make another loop in the opposite direction, put one loop behind the other one, and now you can run the carabiner through there, and you can pull this tight, and under strain it's a little bit more likely to kind of hold its place there, and this also greatly increases the strength of this system. Now again, in the video where I demonstrated the Z-drag, I did not set it up this way, nor with the other loop that I just showed, but that is a much stronger way to do it, and that's what I would recommend. That's it for the close-up view of the equipment. Thanks.